When you pack on pounds in a short amount of time, for example, trail, you can lose them quickly too. So, to no one's surprise, we're all struggling to be healthy, certainly around trauma and betrayal. When our body is traumatized, it goes through a complete metamorphosis in every area, and weight gain is often one of the outcomes. Normal routines have been completely flipped upside down. You often find yourself stress eating or stress snacking, and we're also lying down more than usually in the fetal position, bawling our eyes out. When we are in a lull or depressed or even just feel down, what we often do is eat. We eat for many reasons, primarily to fill a void. We eat to try to numb, distract, avoid. We eat to make us feel better. We eat emotionally. That's what it comes down to. So, what can we do about this? First, recognize that the kind of weight gain that you're dealing with, your trauma weight gain is different than the pounds that you have slowly piled on over the years. When you gain weight over time, your body establishes something called homeostasis. So it's a metabolic set point. So basically, in everyday language, what that means is that your body settles in at a number on the scale and alters your metabolism, keep you there. So when you cut calories and try to drop pounds, your metabolism slows the heck down and fights you every step of the way. Um, when I was preparing for this class, I didn't write this term down, but there's a term called, I think, leptin. And what happens is that when we start to lose weight, there's actually chemicals that are released in our brain that tell our brain we're hungry. So even though you might look or feel a little bit better, when you start losing calories or losing weight, your body is going to tell your mind you're hungry, you're hungry, you're hungry. So it's frustrating because just when you think that, okay, I can do this, like you are constantly ravenous. And then we get hangry and all this other stuff. So the biggest point here is keep to it, keep disciplined if possible. Um, Anyways, the weight you've gained during betrayal is more of a consequence of circumstance than long-term habits or metabolic shifts. So when we're so focused on the hungry wild tiger in the room, and which, if you've never heard me say this before, what happens with that wild tiger example, when we are betrayed, our defenses are hyper vigilant. Almost our body reacts to almost like there's a wild, hungry tiger in the room. So that's the example that I was given as far as that. But so when we're going through that, we're not thinking, if there's a wild, hungry tiger staring at us in a room, we're not going to be thinking, I think I'll have a salad for lunch. That's like the last thing you're going to think about. You're in survival mode. You'll grab whatever's in around you, and oftentimes we don't eat just because we're busy crying or worrying or thinking. And then what happens is we become so ravenous, we grab everything and anything in our way. Anyways, the result of eating in this ravenous way is, we eat whatever's near us, which is usually, like I just said, chips or pizzas or anything that's less than healthy. And what usually happens is we feel worse about eating unhealthy, and what makes us feel better when we're worse? A nice big bowl of chocolate ice cream. Hey, doesn't that always make us feel better? So it's really a vicious cycle that ends up with tremendous weight gain. The good news, though, is that none of these behaviors are so deeply entrenched or ingrained that they're hard to change. You just need to know where to start. So this class, again, is kind of going to talk to you about some simple tips to get yourself on track, and hopefully relatively quick. Um, Again, the majority or all of these you heard before. These are just to bring some to the forefront for any of you out there that are like, man, I need to do something with my recent weight gain. This right here is your sign if you were asking for a sign. Focus on the now. That's number one. So getting back on the bandwagon can be tough, especially after a few weeks, a few months of letting go of yourself. And we put it off. And the longer we put it off, the longer the delay, the less motivation we have. So start by thinking about what you can do and what you can eat right now to get healthy eating back on track or to start healthy eating once and for all. So look at each day as a new opportunity to do your best in terms of your health, your exercise, and nutrition. So that way you're not just, moving along with some mindless behavior. You're actually thinking, okay, these are my goals. This is what I wish for me. This is what I plan on doing. So you start that mental process. Number two, you can always start with soup. Filling your belly with a broth-based soup, of course, non-cream based, before a main course can take the edge off of any meal. So before you dive headfirst into that calorie-laden steak, maybe have some broth-based soup. If you can tolerate water, it's tremendously beneficial to drink a tall glass of water before a meal. What you don't want, obviously, is beer, wine, or your usual cocktail. I'm not saying don't give yourself those luxuries, but that shouldn't be your daily habit. I will say this. As for me, I can't stand the taste of water. I just can't. It's gross. I can't stand water. But I do actually put some lemon juice in my water, and then I can drink it till the cows come home. So if you have a little, flavoring that's non-caloric, you can add to your water to get you to drink more. So be it. So anyways, again, kind of stay away from alcohol if possible, because not only is it filled with calories, but it also loosens like your inhibition powers. So you'll be less likely to be strong, when you don't want to grab those chips or that slice of pizza. Which, by the way, I'm not saying don't eat pizza. I love pizza, but everything in moderation. Um, I looked into this, and actually, so many people, believe it or not, and of course, there's an expense here, say to get a slow cooker. Now, um, basically, when you get a slow cooker, you'll be cooking with less fat. That's the whole idea here. So while making life easier, basically, you can toss all the ingredients in the pot and leave them while you go about your day. So you can look up 1 or 2 slow cooker Instapot meals, what have you, for this upcoming week. Purchase all the ingredients you need to choose on that day that you'll prepare. Look up a recipe. So getting a few well-balanced meals in your rotation from a slow cooker helps out with the less healthy meals or snacks. Now, I get it. A lot of people don't have a slow cooker. A lot of people, especially after betrayal, when they don't even know what's going on with their finances, certainly can't go and get one. But this is if by chance, if you have one, or you do have some extra cash laying around to get one, this is actually one of the things that a lot of fitness gurus highly recommend. Number 4, out of sight, out of mind. It's cliche, but it's true. If you don't see it, you're less likely to eat it. If you're tempted by certain foods and eating when you're not physically hungry, move that food out of sight. I'll tell you something. One of my weaknesses is cottage cheese. I can buy a pint of cottage cheese and eat it while watching one of my favorite shows. So as much as I love it and as much as I allow myself to have it at times, I basically don't even buy it. I just simply don't buy it because if it's in my fridge, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to start eating it. And I'm not going to finish until the whole entire container is gone. So my spouse actually loves having candy in the house. Now, I have a sweet tooth. I am a cheese and chocolate fanatic. But so my spouse loves candy all around the house. So basically, everything from chocolate covered raisins to Starburst, you name it, there's candy in our house constantly, which I'm constantly telling our kids to ask before they take it, but that's a whole nother class, a whole nother topic. Anyways, I often find myself tempted to grab a handful of chocolate covered raisins or M&Ms or what have you. But if it weren't in the house to begin with, I would rarely be tempted to toss those needless calories in my mouth every time I walk to and fro. Every time I pass a room, it's like, hey, M&Ms, let me grab a bunch. Again, mindless eating. So if you're wired to finish an entire family bag of chips, or if it's in your lap, either completely have it out of sight, out of mind, don't buy those, or limit yourself. Sit down with a smaller portion, take out 10 chips, and then go sit on the couch, what have you, other than saying, okay, I'm going to grab this bag of chips, but I'm only going to limit myself to 10 or 15. That's not going to happen. Once you start eating, that bag is going to be pretty much finished by the time, when you're done. Number 5, rise in size. Now, I don't mean rise in size as in your belly fat. Rise in size means the early bird catches the worm. So, and it also reaps the greater metabolic gains from exercise. So, according to a recent study in the journal Cell Metabolism, researchers found that people who exercise first thing in the morning burned more fat and sugar than those who worked out at night. If you're really not a functional morning person, or you're on kid patrol and a workout isn't possible, then just make it a point to choose a schedule at the day where you can break a sweat and stick to it. Schedule your workout on a calendar is just as important as sticking to any of your most important appointments. And that's because you are making an appointment with yourself. So I always say, uh, the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for all others around you. If you can't have strict discipline and boundaries with yourself, you cannot enforce discipline and boundaries with somebody else. Our energy is just not there. When we try to fit in exercise throughout the day haphazardly, it often just doesn't make the schedule at all. Number 6, join the 500 club. So a pound of flesh is equal to about 3,500 calories. So meaning every time you reach a deficit of 3,500 calories in your diet compared to what you usually eat, you're dropping a pound. So if a pound a week sounds good, you're looking to shave off 500 calories a day from your meals. Because, 5 times 7 equals 3,500 calories. Now, if you want to bump that weight loss to 2 pounds a week, you can add exercise, burning 500 additional calories a day by shaving off 500 calories for diet. Get your total up to 1,000 calories a day that you're shaving off. Now, of course, splitting between the two is easier, especially for somebody like me that just I'm not an exercise freak, an exercise guru. I don't even have the time. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't enjoy exercising. A lot of people love being in the gym. I don't. So what I'll do is I'll just try and get some exercise in throughout the day and try and not eat egregiously throughout the day. And between those two, I maintain. Number 7, just want to give you some quick calorie incinerating moves. How do you burn 500 calories as fast as possible? Here's some of the ways: a 30-minute run, 40 minutes of jump rope, 45 minutes of strength training, which could be, body weight exercises, push-ups, sit-ups, planks, as long as you don't necessarily stop between the moves. And, you got to get that heart rate going. 50 minutes of cross-country skiing. Not everybody has the luxury, not everybody has the time, not everybody has the interest. Just an option. Any racquetball or tennis. You don't need a court or a partner. You can do a wall of your house, of course, if it's safe. Or, whack a ball against a safe room in your house. We have a sun porch and I have a softball. Doesn't probably take off as many calories, but that's what I use if I want to pretend I'm playing tennis. And if all this sounds too difficult, let me give you some other tips that are a little less intense. Fill up a water bottle and have it with you throughout the day. So often we go to grab something to eat, but in reality, all we are is thirsty. We're not hungry. Also, try writing down everything you eat. We often eat throughout the day without even thinking about it. So writing things down helps you eat mindfully. After doing this for a few days, you'll start seeing things on that list that are not needed, not desirable, and you'll actually start making mindful decisions to stop grabbing those things that are unnecessary, undesirable. Set a timer. This is actually something that I do personally. So I set my timer. It could be for any amount of time and for any amount of exercise. For example, your phone goes off every 2 hours and you do 5 jumping jacks, 5 sit-ups, 5 push-ups. You can set your phone to go off to dance one song. So every 2 hours, your phone goes off. You just say, okay, no matter what, put on a dance song, you dance to it. Then go back to your day. What'd you take? 4 minutes out of your day? And you just burned, some great calories. Dancing to one song is a great and fun way to drop a few calories. You'd be amazed at how much these little things add up in just one day, and most certainly over the week. If you find yourself sitting for long periods of time, stand up and sit back down 5 times. It doesn't have, consist of much thought. If you find yourself sitting down, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, you'll definitely see a difference in your breathing, which is burning some calories. And if you don't want to stand up and sit back down, then how about stay seated but do some arm circles? You can walk or run in place for 10 seconds. And lastly, I just want to say we all have to clean our house. And for those of you that don't have to, and you're blessed, wonderful. But for the most part, we all have to clean our house. So why not put some music on while cleaning to get some extra moves in before each room or each act? Um, for example, how about a little sway, bring each dish into the cupboard. You can, oh my Lord, there's so many things you can do. If I empty the dishwasher and I'm taking a plate out, turn around or do a dance move or something, put the dish away. Yeah, sure, it might take an extra 5 or 10 minutes to unload your dishwasher, but you're getting an exercise in. By the time you're done putting away your dishes, you got a nice little exercise in. Doesn't have, yes, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. If you're looking for major changes, get on the treadmill for 15 minutes and run. But my Lord, pebbles make mountains and raindrops make seas. Even these little things that we do eventually make a difference. Bottom line, it's not the exercise or the time per se that's important, rather the fact that you're doing something, either moving or eating mindfully. Aside from dropping pounds, I don't have to tell you this, exercise and losing weight has other benefits. Stress stores fat. So when we exercise, we release not only the feel-good chemicals in our brain, but we feel those good chemicals and we also reduce stress. So our reduced stress doesn't store fat. It's a win-win.